It is when we can have the opportunity to gather together and to open up God's Word and study from it. Today we're going to talk about serving others. But before we get into our class today, we'll open with a prayer, and Jake is going to lead us in that prayer in just a moment. Update on myself, unless they change the date tomorrow, the 18th, they will do the valve replacement. So 9 more days. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. So it'd be in Oxford. Yeah. So I'll know tomorrow. I should know the exact time. So right now we're just working on a date. Anyone else we need to remember in our prayers? I think we got a group traveling this weekend, so we need to remember them for their safe trip. Yes, ma'am.
My sister Sarah Williams went home Thursday.
Sherry Williams went home Thursday. So she will have to have hip replacement, but okay. All right. Anyone else? Any update on your sister? No, nothing. She's still in rehab at Charleston, okay. Anyone else?
I can't remember her name. Her name's Catherine. We call her Aunt Kathy. That's Jimmy Anthony's, my son-in-law's aunt. She's the matriarch of the family. She had heart surgery, carotid artery surgery day before yesterday. It went well, and she is still in the hospital in ICU, but they're expecting her to come home real soon.
Y'all call her Aunt Kathy?
Aunt Kathy.
Aunt Kathy.
Yeah, Caffey.
Okay.
Don't ask me. I just
That's okay. That's okay, babe. We don't need to know the background of it. We just want to make sure we're okay. All right. Anyone else? Who's that?
Melanie Foster. She worked at the RFC in Oxford.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
The families down at Kurt Academy, they had that ATV wreck, a teenage senior at Kurt Academy.
Yeah.
Got killed. And the person that was with her on the ATV was flat-flatted, maybe to the mid or maybe the jack.
Yeah. ATV accident. Yeah.
They were teenagers.
Senior high school.
Seniors in high school.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Hey, Fred.
Giannis will have an MRI on her left shoulder in the morning.
Okay.
Here this morning, it's giving her a lot of trouble.
Okay.
Miss Mary Parker came home.
Who?
Miss Mary Parker.
Mary Parker. Yeah, I saw that. Mary Parker is home. All right, Jake.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, as we come this morning on this beautiful, beautiful day, we just give you thanks for this weather we're having. Thank you for us being able to enjoy the creation that you gave us. We just thank you so much for these opportunities and these days. And thank you for this time we can come and study from your word. We appreciate Mr. Danny and the work that he puts in to the
serving others. When you look at this topic and you think about serving others, does that bring a warm feeling to you, or is it an extreme challenge to you? Say that. Do what? Depends on the person. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. What else? What? All right, since he brought that up, it depends upon the person. One of the things in being to challenge yourself in being a leader, and even those who are around about you, love is one, it may be the only thing that makes it possible. Now, some of us, and I put myself in that category, sometimes we're hard to love. You know, and if you are that person, it's going to be difficult. If I'm that person, it's going to be difficult for you to serve me, because it's going to go well for you, hopefully, but maybe my reception of it won't be like it needs to be. So as we think about how loving others is going to be the key to serving others, then there's something that we'll have to practice on working at from day to day. Because regardless of how you feel about each other, I'll tell you something that Susan has said to her daughters: I love you, but I don't like you today. You know, so don't we get in that situation sometimes, that sometimes we are faced with a challenge that you are very difficult to like today, even though I love you and I'm going to challenge myself. So with that kind of peeled back and we're looking at it, then how do we receive and receptive to both serving others and being served? Now, I know a lot of people who do a lot of service for a lot of people, but they have a difficult time in being served. Are you one of those people? That you do a lot for a lot of people, and a lot of it, you know, I don't know about. It's not necessary that I know. There's a lot goes on in service in this congregation that everybody don't know. And that's okay. That's great, because you are gaining and putting treasures up in heaven, not here on this earth. Because if you're looking for you've got your reward. So we want to serve others, and we want to be a benefit to others, but we also have got to be able to receive service. And it's so difficult for me, for people to do things for me, because first thing I want to say is, I don't need it. But in 10 days, I might need it, because I don't know how this is going to go, you know. They give you pretty good odds on, you know, but that little small percentage of people it doesn't go well with, you know. So as you serve, just because you do a lot of service, you do a lot of good for a lot of people, don't hesitate to be served, because it's of a benefit to other people who want to serve you. And because we are a family, then not only do we want to treat each other like family, but we want family to treat us the same way. And as I was opened this up and I began to study and to think about this lesson, well, the very first, I thought of 4 verses, but before I even started to reading into the context of what the writer has to say, the very first one that popped in my mind was Matthew 7, was it 12? Anybody know what that is? Say it. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, so get this idea out of your head that I can't be served because you want to do it for everybody else. It needs to be, what is the word, reciprocal? Is that correct? I don't know. In other words, what goes out needs to come back. That's kind of like a reciprocal saw. It cuts going both ways. Well, this is what this serving other does. This is something that is a benefit for both you and I. And as we serve others, we're blessed. So let the person serve you and let them be blessed.
I think it's important to note too that service is not just building a fence for somebody.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be that manual hard labor. It's saying a compliment or it's sending a card. It doesn't have to be something big.
Right.
It can be something very small, something that anybody can do.
Yeah. How many of us like small acts of kindness? And we all do. We think, as she said, we don't have to go build a porch for somebody. But if that's what you can do, and you have the opportunity to do it. But it may be that one little card. We have the Be a Barnabas, and we pinpoint one person a week to be an encourager to. But drop a line to somebody and says, I thank you for just being you. I thank you for what you do, for what you do for the church or what you do for the community. Those are small acts that do have enormous amount of benefit. The second set of verse I thought about was Galatians 6, 1 and 2. And most times only the verse 2 is quoted or mentioned. And that's okay, because it says, bear ye one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Did Christ bear a burden for us? You bet he did. When he nailed those sins to the cross, then, we have that avenue of forgiveness and the freedom from sin by just doing what John chapter 1, verse 9, I believe it is, walk in the light as he is in the light, and the blood of Jesus cleanses you each and every day. So bear you one another's burdens. It's okay to share your burdens, and don't be afraid of it, and don't be afraid that somebody wants to help you. The third one I thought about was James 1:27. And it talks about visiting the orphans and the widows, in their distress, and fulfilling, the law. We're obligated. We're encouraged to visit and to help those who, and especially in this time, a widow, if didn't have a family, they didn't have any hope. Because no one, they had depended upon man to take care of their needs, you know. So, you know, here we are. Bear you one another burdens, and so fulfill the law. And then the clincher to the one that I think about a lot of times when something is going on and something that needs to be done, and then it comes to my mind, you need to do what James 4:17 says. If you know of something good to do and you don't do it, it's called sin. So when I have the opportunity to do good, now that one's that hits me because I know it's something that needs to be done. I know it's something that I can do. And if I don't do it, I have missed the mark. So it's a challenge to me when I know that there's something good. And what is the second greatest commandment? To love your neighbor as who? As yourself. Now, if you want to go around beating up on your neighbor, go ahead and beat up on yourself too, because you're putting yourself, in that. But we want to treat neighbors like ourselves. We treat ourselves good. And so therefore, our neighbors are due the same blessing that we have. So there are 4 scriptures there, a group of scriptures that can help you and encourage you as you begin to serve others. And we think about leadership, and that's what we're talking about. We're trying to encourage ourselves. We're trying to lead ourselves to be better leaders, not only within the congregation here, because we see what each other do. We see what we do within these walls. But we need to be known for outside these walls for serving others. We need to be a blessing to the community, to our neighbors, to whatever opportunity that we have to do good. We do it. We do it. We get involved and we be a part of it. Now, what is the one thing that hinders service to others? Laziness? All right, that's pretty. Selfishness. Sometimes we can be awful selfish people. And of course, outside these walls, we truly have a group of selfish people that live within the community. And that will kill any service that you want to do for somebody else, or that needs to be done for somebody else. If it's something that we want to do, we're going to do it. So,
Danny, looking back in the past, we didn't have as much, we weren't as influenced we are now. We got more time to take care of our neighbors than we do today.
don't we have the same amount of time?
I know, but it seemed like we took more time
Okay.
to do
Yeah.
our neighbors and our friends and close ones around than we do today. Too busy today to do all these things I need to do.
Too busy today to do all the things that I need to do. Who put us in this rush situation? Who put us in this tight time schedule? Me. And it is true that we are busy people, but we're busy doing what we want to do. And this selfness, this words that have a bunch of S's in it always gives me a lot of trouble. So, but being selfish will hinder your time greatly, because you'll spend more time on yourself than you do in doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. The writer here, and I knew a little bit about it, but not a whole lot, but I knew that Caesar was such a selfish leader in the Roman Empire. He wanted everything for himself. He wanted everybody to serve him. And they finally murdered him because of that attitude. And the guy, Octavius, who took his place, became a servant. And as he tried to give more of authority back to the Senate, more authority back to the people, they just gave him more than he had, than Caesar had. But he was an entirely different leader because of his willing to serve others. We think about servitude and service, and I don't know of anyone that you can read about who was more of a servant than Christ himself. You think about, when people said, I want to follow you. I want to go where you are, and I want to be with you. And what did he say? Man, I don't even know where I'm going to lay my head tonight. Foxes have holes and birds have their nests. Jesus didn't have any of those. But he was willing to serve. Now, how did he serve us? You think about, how did Jesus serve us? Was he selfish in his service to us?
He gave the ultimate.
No greater love than one have than to lay down his life for his friend. You have a friend you'll die for? You have a family you'll die for? We do.
Let's not forget Mr. Danny. He lived a sinless life too.
Yeah,
And you think he came as a human like us.
right.
And he knew no sin. So that was a huge challenge for him too.
Yeah.
As a human to not sin, not succumb to the devil's temptations and
Yeah.
stuff like that in his daily walk.
Sinless life.
Not to minimize the death, that was the ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
But through his whole life, he did not sin.
Yeah.
He was tempted. He was tempted.
Say that again.
He was tempted.
He was tempted, but he did not sin, gave the ultimate prize, and he lived each day just like you and I do. If he bumped his toe on a rock, it hurt. If he was a carpenter, he may have hit his thumb with a hammer at some point in time. And Melvin knows what I'm talking about. But the ultimate service, that he would get down on his hands and knees and wash the disciples' feet. And you think about the shoes that they wore, they were open-toed sandals. Some of them probably even went barefooted. And you think about the roads that they traveled, not only the dust, but the animals as they deposited their stuff on the roads. They were walked through that, and yet he was willing to get down there and to wash their feet. And so we've got to humble ourselves and be a servant. Did that make Christ any less of a leader, bending down and being a servant? It made him even more of a leader, a savior, someone that you can focus your life upon each and every day and concentrate on my eternity. But,
In today's world, when the leader is down working with people in the trenches, he gets down there with them. He don't have to do it all the time, but sometimes
Yeah.
it shows them that he's willing to go and be with them and help them. It makes them more receptive to do what he asked them to do.
yeah.
And so we're following Christ. He was willing to do it. We should be more than willing to get out and do it ourselves.
Right. So we have to be willing to humble ourselves to the point that, because we live in a different world today, we live in a selfish world, and people are always wanting and wanting and wanting, and so as we think about leadership, the leaders, one of the first things that is important is to learn to love. You've all heard the statement or comment that's made that time will heal everything. Well, I want to know how long that Israel and the Philistines have been fighting each other. It's still going on today. So how much time does it take to heal something? But love will heal something in a very short period of time. It will overcome more than time has ever even thought about overcoming. Time sometimes helps us forget. But love will help us to remember it no more. I'm hearing something. Where we're at.
Love will help you do way more than you plan to do. Just liking somebody, you can unlike that person. You don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Love, which Jesus practiced his service on, and we should too.
Yeah.
You won't look over there and say, well, they don't need this,
Yeah.
or I'm not going to do this. But love will help you do.
Love will never allow you to ask that question, whether someone else needs it or deserves it, some help. So,
We didn't deserve what he did. We didn't deserve what he did.
we didn't deserve his love, that's for sure, because we did everything we killed him. Mankind killed him with our sinful nature. So,
The first person we need to learn to love is ourselves. Because sometimes I'm hard on Melvin.
oh yeah,
But if I learn to love Melvin, then I can learn to love any and everyone around.
oh I agree with you. If we can learn to love ourselves first,
And what gets me is I hear people talk about the sinners. They can't stand that sinner. But my Bible don't teach me to hate the sinner. It teaches me to hate the sin and love the sinner.
Yeah.
And try to help him to eternity.
yeah. All right. Let's see. Serving others, and we talked about being a selfish generation, and we hear a lot of people today, you owe me. No matter what's, you can take whatever situation, category, or any thing that you want to talk about, but people are selfish, and to a large degree we have created that because our government spends a lot of money on people who does not need to be there. And all that has, one generation has created another generation and another generation, and it just gets bigger and bigger. You think about the attitude of people today is what can you do for me? It's not what can I do for you, or how can I help you, or how can I help someone else, but what can you do for me? Or, you've heard this one before, what have you done for me lately? You know, you've done this back over here, but what have you done for me lately? Selfish. You know, people want, we've created a generation maybe that is more dependent upon us than they should be. And so we need to try to reverse that a little bit, but don't fail to serve. If someone has asked for something to be served, is it my obligation to question that? Or do I serve them and let the Lord work it out? Serve them. If they've lied to you or gave you or gave a false request, you know, let us serve and take care so that we don't on that day hear the very worst words you can ever hear. Depart from me, I never knew you. So, sir, let them take the responsibility of themselves on the day of judgment. Don't put their guilt on me. All right. Yeah.
You know, so we can't use that as an excuse to not do what we're supposed to do or start what we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
just get started. Because I mean, those thoughts. I mean, we read in our Bible how terrible it was.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been there.
It's
It's been there just as long.
Yeah.
You know, we're shocked and awed by it, but we shouldn't be.
Yeah. How many times we hear our parents say, well, I don't know what this generation's coming to. Whoops. And we're that grandparents today, you know that. You know, so it's nothing new. It's been around. We deal with it. We don't let that interfere with our being a servant. I heard some. Oh.
Like, you know, we're talking about leadership and Jesus being a leader. He was teaching us how to serve. And so we have to be an example to one another so we can learn from one another on how to love people,
Yeah.
on how to trust people, so we can have that collective thinking and collectively serve one another. It just is not just dependent on one person, you know, we learn from one another.
Yeah.
And that gives us encouragement that, you know, we see good in other people and even see good in those who do wrong to us. And that we may see our abusing or using us. And maybe also in serving those people, they may learn from you and your group of friends or whoever, you know,
service to others is going to come under many topics, many different phases. As we mentioned earlier, not necessarily a big thing, could be a little thing, and it could be to if you start with your friendship group, and then that grows. It's like throwing a rock in a pond of water. After a while, it gets bigger and it gets bigger and bigger. Yes.
I believe, Danny, if we're gonna do any kind of service, is do it and don't expect anything in return. Because if you do expect, if I'm gonna do something for you, and I would expect something in return, I believe personally that my service to you or my help to you was in vain because I'm expecting something in return.
Yeah.
If we look at Jesus, what he did, he humbled himself and he did everything for us. He did not expect anything from us. So this is how we should approach things. I'm talking to myself that if I do want to, if I need to help or be in service to somebody, do it and forget about it.
Right.
Don't expect anything back in return.
Yeah, if we serve others with expectation of something needs to be done for me at some point in time, vain service. You may have done a good thing, but what have you done to your soul? If you have done good, to expect it to come back to you. But like Mario said, do it and forget about it. And guess what? It will come back to you because you didn't do it with the attitude, I must be served at some point in time. And at some point in time, we're all going to need service from somebody. So.
If you're expecting something in return, wouldn't it be more of a job? You're getting compensated for doing something
Yeah.
than giving something to somebody.
Yeah. You've accomplished,
You're just doing a job that
Yeah.
you're getting paid for. You're getting compensated.
And also, Mr. Danny, when you do it that way, love is not involved.
being, and that was one of the very first things we talked about. If you want to be a good servant, leader, or leadership, you must love. And so, with what both Mario said, what Jake said, if we do this without love, because we're selfish, we're looking for somebody to come and do for us.
It'll do some good though, Danny. What we did, it did
Oh,
some good.
yeah.
But it's not gonna give us what we need down the line.
Yeah, it does good for the individual, but what did it do for me? Maybe he won't come back to you, that's for sure. But it just,
That applies to the attitude that we use when we put money in that plate.
say that again.
That applies to the attitude
Absolutely.
that we use when we put money in that plate.
Yeah,
That's service.
that's service. It is. We've been blessed. We put money there. It goes for service. So, wait a minute. I have to get closer to you with all this air conditioner up here.
I was just saying that I don't think it's wrong that if we do a service and it's a public service, that we in turn may ask for them to, pay it forward. I'm doing this, you do this for someone else. Encourage them to be a servant. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You're not expecting it to turn back to you, but you're encouraging them to be a servant
Right, yeah. So as we serve others, we're encouraging them to also be a servant to someone else. And that's just going to make the ripple in the pond go bigger, because we've been an example. We don't expect anything in return. So our love is shown throughout the congregation to begin with, but throughout the community as well. And there is and I'm going to have somebody to help me out with this, but there is no law against doing good.
Galatians 6:10 says, do good unto all men, and especially those of the household of faith.
Yeah.
So we're obligated, according to Christ's law, to do good to everyone we come in contact with.
Doing good to all people, especially who? We want to start here, but we don't want to limit it here. We're obligated or commanded to do good to all men, but we must take care of ourselves, and I'm talking about the church, our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, because if we fail within here, we may have caused a soul to be lost. And I don't want to hear that on the day of judgment, that I failed to do something and that person heard, depart from me, I never knew you. Our time is about up, and I didn't get very far. So we're going to work on this some more next Sunday. I thank you for your comments. I appreciate it. I always appreciate your prayers, because I don't know it all, and I appreciate it. I don't mind telling you, I learn more and more each and every day. I thank you, and I love you.